Prison sure is a bad place, and a dangerous inmate can make it 100 times worse. These are the inmates no one wishes to have. Number 1. John Wayne Gacy. He has inspired the most gruesome movie and the scariest character in the movie world, Pennywise. Gacy was a serial killer and pederast who raped, tortured, and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. He was known for his appearances at children's hospitals and charitable events such as Pogo the Clown or Patches the Clown personas he created. Because of his public service as a clown before the discovery of his crimes, he became famous as the Killer Clown. Typically, he would entice a victim to his home and trick him into donning handcuffs under the guise of performing a magic trick. He would then rape and torture his captive before killing him by asphyxiation or guillotine strangulation. 26 victims were buried in his home's crawl space, 3 others were buried elsewhere on his property, and 4 were dumped in the Des Plaines River. Luckily, he was arrested, put behind the bars, and executed in 1980 by lethal injection. Number 2, the Lobster Boy. Grady Franklin Stiles Jr. was called the Lobster Boy. He had cleft hands, or split hands, a condition called ectrodactyly. His deformity was caused by ectrodactyly, a genetic condition in which the fingers and toes fused to form claw-like extremities. Stiles went by the stage name Lobster Boy as a result of this. He was a part of the freak show due to his condition. Stiles was an alcoholic who abused his family. While he occasionally used a wheelchair, he preferred to move around with his hands and arms. He gained significant upper body strength, which when combined with his bad temper and alcoholism, rendered him dangerous to others. Stiles shot and killed his oldest daughter's fiancé on the eve of their wedding in 1978 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was tried and convicted of third-degree murder after openly confessing to killing the man. He was not sent to prison because no state institution was equipped to care for ectrodactyly inmates. Stiles was instead sentenced to 15 years probation and house arrest. He was shot to death by a hitman hired by his wife, Maria Teresa Stiles, and his stepson, Glenn Newman, in 1992. Number 3, Typhoid Mary. This is a name given to the most dangerous cook in the world. Mary was an Irish cook who would kill many people who ate her food. She used to be a cook for wealthy families. Police found that of the last 8 families that hired Malin as a cook and consumed her most popular and salmonella-friendly dish, peaches with ice cream, had contracted typhoid fever. That was sufficient evidence for authorities to track her down in person. Finally, the police joined the pieces and arrested Mary. It was found that when she used the restroom, she, like everyone else, got small, invisible amounts of feces on her hands. She then used her hands to prepare food, introducing bacteria into the food and mouths of the family for whom she cooked. The worst part is that she knew about her condition her whole life. The only cure doctors told Malin was to remove her gallbladder, which she refused. She died at the age of 69. Number 4, the Red Ripper. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo was a Soviet serial killer known as the Butcher of Rostov, the Rostov Ripper, and the Red Ripper, who sexually assaulted, murdered, and mutilated at least 52 women and children in the Russian SFSR, Ukrainian SSR, and Uzbek SSR between 1978 and 1990. Chikatilo confessed to 56 murders and was tried for 53 of them in April 1992. In October 1992, he was convicted and sentenced to death for 52 of these murders, but the Supreme Court of Russia ruled in 1993 that there was insufficient evidence to prove his guilt in 9 of those killings. Chikatilo was shot dead in February 1994. He was also known as the Rostov Ripper and the Butcher of Rostov because he committed the majority of his murders in the Russian SFSR's Rostov Oblast. Number 5, Eileen Warnos. This is a woman who was famously known as the Monster when a movie named Monster was made about her, acted by Charlize Theron. She was so evil, making her worthy of this title.
Because the cops let me keep killing them, Nick. Don't you get it?
As a teen, Eileen Warnos was sexually abused and kicked out of her home. She made a living as a sex worker on Florida's highways and being involved in previous run-ins with the law, and in 1989, she killed a man who picked her up. She went on to murder at least 5 other men before being apprehended and convicted. Warnos would later claim that her grandfather sexually abused her and had sexual relations with her brother. She became pregnant in her early 20s and gave up the baby boy for adoption. She was executed by lethal injection in 2002. That's a wrap for 5 most dangerous prison inmates in the world. Which one of these do you think had the worst? We'll be back with some more outrageous stuff, but until then, goodbye.